called the Thanksgiving Company. What we do is that we teach young adults, middle and high school mostly, about different aspects of business and finance. As a small background, I am from North Philadelphia. I attended Northeast High School, then attended Temple University. Not too long after graduating, I noticed how many things that I had learned in my adult life. Chastity, do I know you?
Yes, you know me.
Oh, I hear that smile. That is you. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm reading the comments. I saw that. I forgot what I was saying. Was I talking about me? I think I was talking about me. After learning a few things in my adult life, I noticed how powerful it would be if I could come back home, because for a while I was in Washington, D.C., and teach kids that mostly look like me, that come from the same city as me, about things that I wish I'd known earlier. So today, I'll jump into some things. I'll jump into credit pretty heavily, as Mrs. Fabiano insisted. But I will also want to have open dialogue to talk about whatever it comes to you guys' minds. Any questions, feel free to pop up in the chat. If I don't see it in the chat, I do ask that Rebecca or Amelia, if you guys could let me know what's going on in there. And I'm also going to leave some time at the end, to ask questions as well. So let me pull up my screen while we're here. Chastity, I'm so happy that now I got somebody to pick on, because I thought this was going to be hard. I could pick on you all day. This is perfect. Oh man, he messed me up. Can you hear me? All right. So again, my name is Chris Banks. This is Thanksgiving Company. Wait, why is this not working? Oh, here we go. To those of you, this is a very intimate group, so it should be enough time or create the space for anyone to ask questions as we go along. But in the event that you don't, or that you forget a question, feel free. I know we all have Instagram. Follow me on my Instagram, my personal or my private account. Also, you can email me. That's my personal email. If there's anything finance related, mentorship, jobs, if I can connect you with someone else, that's what I'm here for. That's one of my passions in life. So do not be a stranger. Feel free to do so. Imani, I see. Are you writing this down, Imani? Okay, that's a good student, man. That's a good. I would have just screenshot it, but you better than me. But I'll also put this in the chat later on for when we go. I want to start the conversation by really seeing where we are in terms of money, right? Like, what do we actually understand about money? I know we spend it every day. I know we know that things cost, but what really is your natural feeling or understanding in relationship with money? So first question, pretty easy. Somebody, anybody, everybody, let me know, what is money? Yeah, screen. What is money to you? Feel free to unmute yourself, or you can write it in the chat. Just let me know, what is money to you? All right. I'm guessing nobody's talking because everybody's in the chat room. So give it about 30 seconds, or we could just unmute ourselves, either one. Because there's only a couple of us in here, I have no problem picking on Sean, Taylor, Chastity, or Imani.
Something that you need for survival, basically.
Okay, you took it there, huh? Unique for survival.
I stuck it there.
But, okay, deeper than that. Give me, well, not you, someone else. Give me a different answer. Give me something easier than that. Like, what is money?
Some people. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go my list. Some people lately have been saying that it's an energy, like a misunderstood energy, and like any energy could be transmuted. It can be harmful, or it can be something that's like used for, good or whatever. It's a powerful energy as well. But yeah, I've been hearing that it's been being called the energy.
Oh, I said take it easy. You took it deep on me. Imani, what school did you go to?
I'm not in school.
Okay. What school did you go to?
Like high school or college?
Either one.
I went to Girard Academic Music Program, or GAMP, for high school, and then I went to CCP for a little while for college until I left.
That's cool. That's cool. Cool. Yeah, Gamp. Where is Gamp at? Is that in West Philly?
Excuse me, South Philly.
South Philly. All right. But no, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. You took it deeper than what I was prepared for sure. And anyone else? One more. Just give me something. What is money to you? And again, it's not the textbook definition. What is it to you?
Taylor said it's the root of all evil.
Oh, geez, y'all.
They're going deep, right?
Yeah, y'all been telling me
They're
why
going deep.
too much sci-fi or something going on, right? So I guess it might be the root of all evil as well. That's an interesting conversation, though, right? Because money isn't everything. We all know that. We've heard that before. But literally, for anything that we're for anything that we're doing or we're involved in our life, is there anything that you could think about that you don't need money for, or that doesn't have some type of price attached to it? Just anybody. Is there anything you could think of? And again, you might not be the one paying, but is there anything you could think about in life that is absolutely free that nobody has to pay a monetary value for anywhere along? All right, so I'm gonna say that we don't know, or if you do come up with it, let me know. But so when people say it's the root of all evil, go ahead, Rebecca, you gonna say something?
Sean said that time is something that you don't have. I think Sean was saying to your answering your question, he said time.
Well, Sean, you are showing me up today. I'm a big proponent of time. Time is very important. But the things that you do with that time, I think, that might be a deeper thing. But then people say time is money. I don't want to go too deep on that. But yeah, so money at the end of the day, right, is any verifiable is an item or verifiable record that is generally accepted as payment for goods or services, debts, taxes, whatever that is. If we go to the corner store, we want some sunflower seeds, we would give the man or the woman, we would give them that 25 cents. Are they 25 cents? I think they're 35 cents now. We would give them the 35 cents, the dollar, whatever we get. They would give us the sunflower seeds. That would be our exchange, right? We're using our money to buy that good or to pay for a service, right? So we all kind of understand that. Deeper, a little bit deeper, what is money management? Can anybody answer what they think money management is? And this isn't as philosophical, y'all. And Rebecca, again, if someone is chatting, let me know because I can't see this chat screen right now.
Yep. Taylor just said budgeting and saving.
That's it. I would have asked for more, but right. So, budgeting, saving, investing, spending, all of that is money management. The reason why money management is important before we talk about anything in finance, right, is because if you don't know how to manage your money, I always tell people this quick tidbit. You can make $8 per hour or you can make $80 per hour. But if you don't manage your money correctly, it can all look the same, right? So think about it. So those of us who have had jobs before, certainly minimum wage job, we know how much $8 an hour isn't. We know how much $80 per hour is, or at least seems. But if all you do is spend every dollar that you get, you don't save, you don't put in those extra hours at work, it can look the same way depending on what your money management skills are. Oftentimes in urban environments, certainly with our athletes, with our entertainers or so, a lot of them have bad money management skills. And so when you see that athlete or that old rapper or singer, whatever it is, you're like, yo, I thought you had $1 million contract, right? Them not necessarily fully understanding their relationship with money or their money management is typically what might bring them back to the same neighborhoods that they came from or have them broke, so to speak. I want to give us a activity that I love to do. But again, for me to get the feeling about how you guys feel money, what your thoughts are, how you handle it. So I'm gonna give you all a chance, give you about 5 minutes to look at it real quick. So I'll say a year or so ago, maybe longer, I put this up on my Instagram account and I asked, what would you choose? So everybody here, I want you to tell me what you would choose. Don't tell me what you wouldn't choose. Just tell me what you would choose and tell me why. Not yet. I'm gonna go through it. Right. So would you take one, $1 million in cash? Would you take two, a 50% chance at winning 200 million? Would you three, hang out with the richest person in the world or in the earth, US, whatever, for 3 years? or 4, would you take a lifetime free of traveling? So because there's only a few of us, I'm gonna give us 60 seconds to think about our answer. Talk through it with the little person in your head. 60 seconds, and then tell me why. Don't tell me why you didn't pick something else. Just tell me why you picked the one you did. 60 seconds, clock starts now.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
For my lifetime of travel for free, is it in
Room
any
and board.
Just but any room, like it could be the forest, it could be like the Ritz room.
It could be
or
the
it
Ritz.
could be like,
Actually not room and board. Travel
room and room service.
Travel and lodging.
Travel and lodging, but it could be like
you could be wherever you want to be.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, if I want.
Yes, the life that you're used to.
Yes. Okay. That's not the life that I'm used to. That's the life that I want. But okay.
15 seconds. Yep. Three, two, one. All right, so who wants to go first? Who wants to tell me which one they chose and why? Imani, you look frozen. Are you frozen, Imani? Oh, all right. Imani, so you want to go first because you look like you were the first person that was ready to go anyway. So which one did you choose?
Off rip, I was like lifetime free traveling because I'm just a travel, like I love traveling. Right. I'm the type person, if it's my last and my responsibilities I pay, I'll spend it on traveling. So that was my original thing, but then we got the clarifying question. I was like, okay, still, like I would still do it because then all I need is spending money. And I'm like, when I go places, I don't even spend a lot of money for real. So there's that. But then I also thought you can go a lot of places. You can travel and invest in yourself and like other businesses and like make that flip if you get the $1 million cash, as long as there's no strings attached or something. So I started leaning towards the $1 million cash. So yeah, I guess I didn't really work it all the way out, but that was my thought process.
Wait. So which one did you pick?
I didn't land on one.
One foot in each square. One foot in each square.
Right. You got to pick one. Imani, you got 5 seconds.
Lifetime free traveling.
Lifetime free traveling. All right, you got that.
So wait, so Sean and Taylor and Chastity all chose Sean. I'm gonna read Sean's answer. Sean said, hang out with the richest person on earth for 3 years because I can learn from them and eventually make more than $1 million in cash. And Chastity and Taylor all said ditto.
That is so crazy that he said that. And Chastity and Taylor are so unoriginal to your own words.
I can defend myself. Okay.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
I thought, I always
God.
thought about, like, I originally always choose hang out with the richest person on earth for 3 years because not only are you gaining like knowledge from that person, you're gaining them like all their struggles and what like you should do as a person and not make the same mistake as them and from the past, and you're gaining more knowledge and you can make more than $1 million if you learn how to budget, spend, create revenue just for yourself overall in general. And then I was like for the lifetime free traveling, no shade. But I was like, how, even though I'm getting a free lifetime traveling, I'm not sure how I'm gonna be able to spend for food because food, you have to buy food in order to like travel or you're gonna just and like other expenses that you might want to do like fun trip stuff and go other certain places and like automatically I don't, even though I'm getting the trip for free, I don't have any money. And then the 50-50 chance, like there's a 50-50 shot at 2 million, like either way if your coin
wait a minute, Chastity. I didn't ask you what you didn't pick.
Okay, so I picked hang out with the richest person for 3 years.
Okay. Jeez Louise. Sean, you want to further explain? I don't know if you have a mic or not. If not, it's cool.
Like how you want me to explain it?
I'm not able to read the chat. So if I can hear you say, why you pick that, if you can.
I just picked it because it just made sense to me. Like I rather learn from them, and then they can tell me all the mistakes they made, and then I can like try to avoid them.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And so okay. So I'll go through my thoughts for each one, and then I'll wrap this one up.
I'm sorry, Imani said they have an add-on if we have time. So I think we have time. Go ahead, Imani, add on.
I was gonna say it's like I think I agree with what everybody was saying as far as hanging out with the rich people for 3 years. I also wonder, like, this question kind of came with an implication that like being rich is the goal. And I'm not saying I don't want to be rich or nothing. Like I'm not on that wave. By all means, like we would love to see it. But it's also like, I don't know, like there didn't seem to be an implication of just like I don't want to say simplicity as if like being rich can't be made simple. Like it can, if you have the right lessons, again, hanging out with the people for 3 years, you get the lessons. But I don't know, like there's just this implication, like the $1 million didn't even really like, I don't know, like it didn't even look attractive to me until I started thinking about it. Like travel is what, like, I don't know, it's does that make sense? Like it's the implication of like wanting to be rich or whatever, which I didn't even think about because that's not even like a.
No, certainly. It makes sense. And it's one thing that I should have said before we started here is that out of these four, there literally isn't a wrong answer, right? It's literally about what your relationship with money is, what's your style, what's not. So there is no right or wrong answer here.
Okay, yeah, because I also feel like what comes with the implication with travel is that you have to spend a lot of money. And as somebody who like travels often, I don't like spend a lot of money when I go places. I don't know, but like everybody does it different. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, that was all my thoughts, but that was it.
Nah, I get it. I appreciate that. So real quick, I'll run through what I thought about each. The $1 million cash, inevitably, most people pick that one first. Most young adults pick that first. Comparatively, if we look, the $1 million cash is the only guaranteed money up there, right? If the mission is money, $1 million cash is the only guaranteed money up there. Most people thinks that, you ask a kid how much money you want to make per year, he's gonna be like $1 million in cash. It's something about that million word that's very sexy and attractive to young adults. Understanding, if you spend $1, you're no longer a millionaire, right? You're $999,000. So I don't know how sexy that is. But I think that one is really important because most of us, even when I talked about athletes as well as entertainers, we know how to spend money, right? We know how to spend money. We typically take whatever is in door one, right? Not thinking about door two might be $20 million if you just waited a little bit. If you just invested into yourself a little bit, it might be $200 million, whatever that is. So I like that nobody here picked that $1 million in cash, but that's not a bad answer if you already had your plan together. If you right now are sitting on a master business plan and you know that all you need is 200,000 or 400,000, that's going to get you $40 million, and that $1 million will plateau you to where you want to go, then by all means, that's the right answer for you. That's why there is no right or wrong answer here. But most people is, they just take the money at the first grab they can. The 50% chance of winning 200 million, certainly are for the daredevils. I'm not really a daredevil. If you look at the comments, my homie is like, I just want to feel that rush. And I'm like, dog, if you want to feel a rush, you could drink a Red Bull. You don't got to gamble 200 million with it, right? But the difference, and I would say a big difference too, depending on what age you are, $1 million might not necessarily change your life for as long as you think it is, right? 200 million on the other hand would change your life. So taking that chance, you're left with two choices. You're either happy with your life right now. If you don't hit, then you're cool. I go back to living how I'm living. But if you hit, your family are going to be set for generations to come if you're willing to take that amount of risk. Not really my style. Lifetime free of traveling. I always differ with this one because I'm not the most well-traveled person, but to a lot of my friends who are, they talk about the amazing things that they get from learning things in different regions of the world and different countries and different continents, right? Understanding that the world is much bigger than your 6-block radius of your neighborhood, right? That was something that I didn't necessarily understand until I moved out of the city, wherever all of us are from in Philadelphia, we typically, we hold that place very near and dear to our heart. I'm from North Philly. I'm from here. I'm from this town. That, you know, like we love that. We love, you know, in Philly, like we love that. Not understanding that, like, yo, you go other places, you're like, wait, everybody doesn't handle situations like that. Everybody doesn't think like that. When I bump somebody in the club over here, I don't got to worry about what's happening after somebody's apologizing. Like really, like traveling can get you those different experiences. Not also understanding that different experiences when you come back, or even if you stay there, you see how different people make money, how different people, you know, turn water into wine, right? How different people sometimes are living in much worse situations than you're in, and they're doing well for themselves, right? So being able to go anywhere around the world, I think has a monetary value that most of us who might not have traveled a lot might not see, but that's always a good one. Me, ultimately, I pick hang out with the richest person on earth for 3 years, which it seemed like 70% of us pick. Because for me, again, my natural style, I'm a people's person. I talk with people. I network. I know that if I was to hang out with Jeff Bezos, who's worth however much, $46 billion per year, if I was to hang out with him every day for 3 years, I'm going to learn how to make $1 million, let alone 200 million. Honestly, I tell people in those circles, there are probably people that's willing to pay you $1 million just to be in the same room as them. You know what I mean? Like, let alone learn how to make 200 million. I equate it to sports. If you were hanging out with Michael Jordan for every day for 3 years, you're probably going to know how to make a free throw or a jump shot or whatever that is. But having that same mind with business. Anybody else want to add to that before I close it out? Cool. So I always pick this because I'm always interested in knowing how you think about money. What's your relationship with money? What would you do if you were in these situations? One of the best things that I think we have to understand with money, and going back to money management, is preparing yourself that if I was given an opportunity, how would I handle that? Sometimes, as it seemed that might have happened with Imani, the thing that you go in thinking, you hear or see a different perspective and you're like, oh, you know what? I won't do that. That's not how I planned on things doing. I'm always promote people to think differently. Let's jump into it. What is credit, right? Can anybody tell me what credit is or what they think credit is? What they heard about it? Either one, it don't matter. All right, go ahead, Chastity. I think you want to talk.
You just volunteering me like that? Okay.
I just felt that you wanted it.
Yeah. So credit, I know that you need a certain score in order to like buy your house or buy any type of asset that will profit and like build generational wealth.
Okay. That's you went there. Okay, anybody else? What we think? What do we think is credit? Who else we have? Imani? No, not Imani. Taylor. Yes.
I look at it as your identity. Like it's something that you carry with you for the rest of your life. And it's something that's really not easy to fix.
Wow, I like that. Sean, you want to take it home? What you want to do, Sean?
I know I'm trying to think about this. Like I know what credit is, but we ask what is credit. But basically, I don't know is that credit is really important. Like that's how you can buy cars, like houses, phones. Like you really need credit. And I know that when you buy something, like you're usually supposed to use a credit card when you're about to make a big purchase, because if you use it for that, and then I think like your credit score go up if you pay it off. Like they look to see how fast you pay it off.
Yeah. It's a lot of things that they look into. And all of you know, touched on it just a little bit. I think that was Taylor who talked about like basically like it is your reputation, right? It is your monetary or your financial reputation, right? Most people aren't necessarily asking how much, well, maybe, but a lot of times people are not asking, you know, for your salary or how much you have in the bank, but your credit score kind of tells them everything that they think they need to know. Now, in another conversation, we could go into, you know, how credit scores started, if it was fair, if it keys in on a certain demographic. It's a lot of, you know, different theories about that and things like that. But just on a basic level, right? It's your reputation, and it shows, you know, are you good at repaying debts? one of the best ways of showing your credit is paying things on time over time. So here's a good question, and I usually have an example that I do with this in class. Sean, I'm just gonna pick you. So Sean, if I gave you $20 right now, and I told you, you owe me that $20 back, and you gave it back to me tomorrow, is that establishing good credit, bad credit? Is that good? Again, we talked about the
That's
ability
good.
to pay things on time, over time. Go ahead.
I think that's good.
Okay. Everybody think that's good? We can just say yes or no in the chat, or thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't know how we do. Everybody think that's good. Okay. 50-50. Taylor, what you think? So again, right? So the scenario, I give Sean money. Sean, here go $20. Here go $22,000, $2 million, whatever. Next day, Sean, yo, thank you. Here go the money back. Taylor, I'm sorry, Chastity, tell me why you say 50-50. Why do you think that might be good? Why do you think it might be bad?
So I know that it's good, like once you're able to pay off the same amount that you spent on your credit card, but I also feel as though if you gave it to them today and then they pay you back yesterday, it's not showing like your personal character or development over like how long you can make progress, if that makes sense. Like
That makes perfect sense.
it
Go
like
ahead, I'm sorry.
doesn't show like if something were to happen over a course of a month or years, because that's how they make their interest in money, like if you're going to be able to pay it off.
Certainly, right? And Amelia said it depends on when you want to be paid back. That all of these things factor. But to what you were saying, Chastity, if I give you the money, now let's be clear, right? Sean, in the streets, peer to peer, man to man, woman to woman, whatever that is, right? You my kind of guy, right? I gave it to you, you gave it right back. When it comes to credit scores, credit card companies, bigger establishments, it's kind of tricky because they want it a little differently, as Chastity said. They want to see how you deal with this over time. If they give you 20,000 and you give them 20,000 back, that just shows that you had money, right? Or that you just gave them the money back, right? It doesn't necessarily go into your character. It doesn't come into, how long you can do. Now, I don't think it would mess up your credit, but it doesn't build it the way that you think, right? They, as Chastity said, companies are able to, they value you more, and they're able to make more money off of you the longer that you have credit out. Now, the hard part about that is that you have to decide how much sense that makes for you, right? If that makes sense for you to pay for the longevity of the interest accruing, right? Because trust me, interest builds up very, very quickly. Hopefully, I get to some slides when I talk about how that can look. Anybody else want to comment on that? All right. So, and we kind of talked about that already, but Chastity, you hit it with your first thing. You said, what is credit good for, right? What do we think credit is good for? I'll pick on Taylor to start this one. And we talked about it a little bit already, but what do we think credit is good for? Taylor, I don't know if you're typing or if you're talking, but I'm assuming you're typing.
Credit's good for.
I can't hear you, Miss Rebecca.
You can't hear me?
I got you now. Go ahead.
Credit is good for pay, like if you want to buy a car, you want to get a car loan, having good credit can help you there.
Yes.
If you want to rent an apartment, good credit is important.
Right. Here's a funny thing, right? So I have a property and I run credit checks, right? Am I worried about their criminal background? I am, but I'm more so worried about what has been your reputation with prior companies, prior businesses, prior landlords. If you have an eviction, I have to judge if I want to take that on. We could go to the next one. How can credit hurt you? Anybody have an opinion? Imani, I think you got an opinion. Imani, how can credit hurt you?
So I mean, if you have bad credit, then the things that other people mentioned as far as just like renting stuff, whether you want to rent an apartment or get a loan or things like that, then it makes it difficult for you. Putting things in your name in general makes it different for you, 'cause like y'all said, hurts your financial reputation, character.
No doubt, no doubt. Listen, having poor credit can make it harder for you to get car, home loans, to qualify for credit card accounts, to co-sign for yourself or for your kids, schools and student loans. I don't know how many of you are going through student loans right now. That's why a lot of times you need co-signer. I'm sorry, Taylor said it's good for your reputation. It shows people they can trust you with expensive ones. Sure. Yeah, it can hurt a lot of things, right? And so it's not, some people play the game of, oh, I just want to do it all cash. I just want to do that, which is okay. If you see some of the richest people, they use more credit than they use their own cash. You leveraging your credit allows you to free up more things to do with your cash. I don't have the exact numbers right now, but I want to say they said that, so we all know Beyonce and Jay-Z, they're both billionaires, or at least one's a billionaire and one's at least 800 millionaire, something like that. They bought a home, I want to say in LA or somewhere in California for like $58 million, right? So you like somebody who's a billionaire, he gonna buy it out for 58 million. No, he didn't buy it out for 58 million. I think they said that, he put down whatever deposit he had to, I don't know, that's 5%, 20%, 1%, right? Because Jay-Z is saying, even if I have, I'm trying to bring it in the easier numbers. If I had 100 million in the bank, right? Yes, I have 58 million to buy for that home. But if all I have to do is put 2 million down, then I can do something else with my $98 million, right? And so that frees me up to do other things, even if I want to purchase another home, if I want to purchase another business. That's how credit works. Now, the way that he's able to get that is from years and years of having good relationships with businesses and companies and having the salary to prove it, is that he people trust him. Yes, as Rebecca just said, having good credit allows you to put down less. One of the things I think that people are scared of when it comes to homes are that I got to put down 20%, right? And a lot of times you do, but that's not necessarily the truth. There are programs that allow you to put down 5%, 10%, sometimes 3.5%. Actually, I'm sorry, all of those programs are based on your credit score. I think you have to have a 640, if I'm not mistaken, which some may say is actually average to bad, 640. But the higher that it goes, you'll be able to get more. Let me go to this other screen real quick. Anybody have a question about that? Let me see, share screen.
I was just going to build from what I said, which is that if someone has poor credit, they might be required to put down a little bit more money because the bank or whomever doesn't trust it over the period of time, they'll be able to pay back. So someone who has good credit might get away with putting down 10%. Someone who doesn't have such good credit might have to put down 15 or 20% up front because the bank is worried over the long time that they may not get that back. So they want to get as much up front as possible.
Yeah, because it limits the risk of the bank or of that institution, for sure. Imani, were you going to say something?
Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to get into this, so it might be a premature question, but I know I have Credit Karma and they have 2 different scores, and I did a little bit of research about like why that can be. So that makes sense. But I was wondering what what is your advice for somebody who just wants a true like number and really just wants to know where they're at? Because I know sometimes those apps could be iffy. So like who should I go to? Where should I call? Whatever, to just get my real number so I know what I'm working with, because the numbers are also drastically different. So yeah.
I believe you, and I think I do have that on here if we get to it. But
Okay.
I believe it's free credit score report.com or something like that. I'll look up to it. I'll look it and put it in the chat. But that's accurate.
Okay.
Free. I believe you're allowed to do it once a year. There also are other companies that sometimes you got to pay for. Sometimes they run specials, whether that's Experian, you go straight to them. TransUnion or Equifax, if you go to those websites, because those are essentially the 3 that people pull from, they have things as well. If we look at the screen, you guys see 2 cards on the screen? tell me what's the difference, right? So we have a debit card and we got a credit card. Let's talk about some differences.
Well, the debit card is your own money,
Mm-hmm.
and credit is basically borrowing money.
Okay. So, okay. That's absolutely right. Anybody else see it any differently? Anybody else got something different?
One is a Visa and one's a MasterCard.
Oh, that too. All right. The company providing that credit access. Okay. Anybody else something different? That's pretty much it, right? We'll get into some pros and cons, right? So debit, right? We look here, right? Debit's your money, credit, the bank's money, right? If you look at it like that, someone else's money, the financial institution's money, whatever that is. If you see, as we go along, you see that credit, so it gives you deeper room to swim, but deeper room to drown as well, right? So you might say that, if you only have $200 in your bank account, right? That's all that your debit will allow you to spend. You might still have $200 in your bank account. Oh, here we go. Here's a good question. If you got $200 in your bank account and you have $200 on your credit card to spend, how much money do you have? Anybody?
$200.
Don't matter.
$200.
Rebecca, I can see your lips, but I couldn't hear you.
$200.
You say 200. Anybody?
You
else?
have $200.
Wait, repeat
I have
yourself.
access to another two.
So I said if you have $200 on your debit card and you have $200 on your credit card, how much money do you have? Simple, right? Sean, what you thinking? What you thinking, Sean? You can't take all this time now. You jumped out there. Sean,
Chastity said you only have 200.
Sean, what you say?
Well, you say you have $200 on your credit card.
So if you have $200 to spend in your debit card and you have $200 to spend on your credit card, how much money do you have?
I guess you got 400.
All right, that's the answer I wanted you to say. That is the wrong answer.
I know, but can it be zero? Would it cancel out?
Come on, the girls' team, Sean. The girls all said 200.
So, Sean, I say that to say that, for your limit per se, maybe I confused you, and I apologize if I did. Essentially it would be $200. I asked that because a lot of times people feel like, oh, well, I got $10,000 to spend on my credit card. I mean, I got $10,000. Now that means that you're getting a loan for $10,000 that you eventually have to pay for whenever you get the real $10,000 in your debit card. So again, not something, to lose sleep over, but I think that's very important to understand that whatever you have on your credit card is not the liquid money that you have, but it is credit that you could spend, but that you also have to pay back. Also understanding that $200 that you pay back,
interest,
is probably going to end up being $210 or $220, depending on what your interests are. Your interest, again, depends on your credit score and your credit reputation. Did you understand that, Sean?
Yeah.
He just gave you the answer you wanted to hear so that you could do your part.
That's what it is. Sean, he gave me the alley-oop.
He was team 200. He gave you the alley-oop.
He gave me the alley-oop.
He did.
So I'm not going to show this one. I want to quickly go through this. I want to give you guys at least 10 minutes of question, right? So debit card, right? Here's some pros and cons, right? Pros, you got no debt. You got no annual fees. It's easy at your bank. Some of the cons, you're limited to what's in your bank. It doesn't typically have a benefit to your credit history. I know that now some businesses, some companies are allowing you to attach your credit card, your bank card to for utility bills and stuff like that I think are trying to get you to better space. I'm not sure. I don't know if TransUnion, Experian, and things like that accept that. This is limited protection of misuse. Credit cards, pros, right? It builds your credit history. It's a protection against misuse if it's stolen, if it's used improperly. Sometimes you get reward points. You get higher limits than what you would get in your bank account, because if you only got 200 in your bank account, maybe they'll allow you to get 1,000 on your credit card. The cons, the interest on your purchases. Interest is the major thing that matters. Interest is the thing that makes this go round, right? Credit cards would not be, even the ones who give you 6 months free or 1 year free, no interest or something, right? Please believe that they're banking on you messing up throughout that time. They're banking on, okay, if we gave him $5,000 and told him he had a year to pay us off, hopefully he isn't able to pay us off. That's how they're able to get more money off of that fee or off of that interest. Some have an annual fee. The annual fee, it throws me off every year, and I need to do a better job of knowing when that comes. You spend your whole, you sign up for your credit card, and then a year comes by, and you say, well, wait, how did y'all charge me $300 or $75, right? What is that about? The credit card company is saying just from having a card, right, each year, we're going to attach a fee to that. That's typically not like that with your bank account. Requires credit history to qualify for certain cards. When you go into, if it's Capital One, if it's American Express, if it's Chase, they have different tiers. Different tiers might be beneficial to you, but you can't get to certain spots unless you have enough time or enough history with them. So Imani talked about traveling. Maybe you're not able to really get those travel benefits or rewards until you get to the platinum tier. The platinum tier might require you to have $100,000 annual salary, 3 years of good credit, whatever it is, right? Real quick, try to show this. How many of us have the iPhone? Right, I do. Let's say everybody. If you don't, then like something's wrong with you, right? If you don't got the iPhone, right? I'm just gonna say that. How many of us do the iPhone? What is that program? Like the the program. You like pay as you go or something. iPhone upgrade or replacement program. Anybody does that?
A replacement program?
So it's a program that Apple or AT&T, Verizon, they have, whereas you'll pay a little bit now. You'll basically pay like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have that plan for their iPhone? Okay. So that plan could be a great plan depending on where you are in your life, depending on how often you want to upgrade, right? Because you're like, yo, I ain't have to give them $1,000 up front. I only gave them $40 a month and I got a new phone, right? To most people, definitely young adults, you'll take that in a heartbeat. I've taken that before. I'm just going to show you an example, and this is a stretched out example, but I'm going to show you an example about how those type of things could play to the other side. So, that's not right.
Is that like a pay to own, Chris? Is that what you're talking about? Like
yes, yeah.
Pay to own.
Yep. So they'll allow you to pay it throughout 2 years to own it. But essentially, at the end of it, you actually end up paying more than what the phone costs. Now, this example is not that, but I just wanted to know. So let's say we go, let's say the iPhone $1,300, and we don't have any money, right? So we like, listen, I'm going to pay the minimum $40 per month at a 25% interest rate. Do we think 25% interest is a lot or a little? It's only 25. What do we think, Chastity?
It's high.
25 is super high.
So
It is
high.
super high amount of interest. Hopefully you never sign up for a credit card that has over 20%. I don't know what the average should be, but 20 is a lot. So let's look at this, right? So we got $1,300. If we were just going off 25% interest and paying the minimum, $1,300, and just 6 months later, right? Essentially that price, you end up paying more, $1,400 because of the interest. You paid $100 in interest throughout that time. The same time next year, you have, because again, this interest is keep growing. This interest keep going. Now, you keep paying the $40, right? But the interest keeps going. $1,500, $1,600. So a year and a half later, you've already paying, I guess, a $353 difference from the number that the card, that the phone originally cost, right? We look, so to pay this off at that rate would take you 13 years, right? If you allow that interest to keep accruing, and this is as you still paying each month. This is you paying on good time. You got good credit, so to speak. You're paying on time. Paying the minimum doesn't get you where you want to be in credit. People will tell you that. Now, let's be clear. Paying something is better than paying nothing. But paying the minimum will get you deeper and deeper in debt. You want to be careful with that, especially depending on what your interest rates are. 2031, you know, this will end up being $2,000. You end up paying $700 more throughout 13 years because you didn't have the money up front. This is another thing, economical problem, that it's hard for poor or impoverished people to have nice things, right? Because you put them in situations like this. It's like, listen, I want the phone that everyone else has. All I gotta do is pay $40 a month. And they don't understand that in 10 years, they're gonna still be paying for that same phone, right? That's a tough situation to give anybody, you know, because we all know that there are some social motivations, I would say social pressures. They're like, you don't want to be the one out without the iPhone. You don't want to be the one that, you know, doesn't have AT&T. You don't want to be the one without the Balenciaga sneakers, whatever that is, right? But that could put you deeper in debt. Let me, I'm gonna go through one last thing, and then I'm gonna go for conversation. But I said a quick snapshot. The average American has $6,375 in credit card debt and pays on average $900 in interest annually. $900 in interest annually means that you're paying $900 each year of money that wasn't even a part of the original cost of whatever the product is that you had. If you think about student loans, which is a whole nother, I'll say argument or anything, I think the average person has like the average person who graduated college with loans has like 37,000 in student loans. Now you guys might look at that like, yo, 37,000 is nothing, right? Ain't a lot. It's not a lot comparatively, but it's people here that you couldn't pay $300 off today, let alone 37,000, and that's going to keep growing with interest and so forth. I want to talk about credit score, and I had some other things that I wanted to talk. Actually, let me give you one more. We're gonna go over real quick. I want to put us in the scenarios of you be the banker, right? Would you give a loan to this person, right? So I'm gonna run through this very quickly. Annie, right, and her spouse and her dog, they live in a house that she owns. She hasn't missed any mortgage payments, but her mortgage payment takes up 30% of her take-home pay every month. She has a car loan that is reasonable, but was late on 1 to 2 of her payments per year over the last 5 years. So over the last 5 years, she missed 2 payments, or late on 2 payments. She has never been late on her student loan payments. However, they make up a decent percent of her monthly pay, about 10%. Annie would like to apply for a $50,000 loan to open a hair salon and will repay it in 5 years. Would you loan her the money? We're the bank. Everybody here is the bank. Would you loan Annie the money? Why or why not?
And just so you know, Chris, Imani is driving, so she is off camera right now. So.
All right, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good. Talia needs more details.
All right. So again, right, let me I guess try to wrap it up. Annie, you know, she's applying, she wants $50,000 that she'll repay in 5 years. She's never missed a mortgage payment. She was late on 1 or 2 of her car loans in the last 5 years. She's never been late on her student loan payments, but her student loan payments do take up about 10% of her income. Do you think Annie is a good or bad person to loan the money to?
I think bad. It's kind of risky.
Tell me why it's risky.
Because she was late for 2 years, and her mortgage.
She was late for 2 years. She was late on 2 payments.
Yeah, she was late on 2 payments. But then it also says that her mortgage payment takes up 30% of her monthly pay, and then it says something else that takes up 10% of it. Her student loans.
Yeah. Right. So out of all the money that she has, right? You're right. It was 30%. Out of all the money that she has, 40% is already going towards paying someone else, right? That's not including her food, whatever luxury, clothing, whatever else she has, right? Like the 60% that she has left, right? Do you want to, you as the banker, do you want to jump into that? You said it's risky.
No, not at all.
Okay, and tell me why.
Because I feel like in this situation, she paying a lot off, and she's paying a lot off in general, but then you gotta add food, then you gotta add clothing, then you gotta add phone bill and all that stuff. So I feel like it wouldn't be a smart investment. Maybe like 10,000. But like, even though that can't probably get her a hair salon, but I could
No,
maybe I'll
listen.
loan her 10,000, but not 50.
Listen, but I like the way you're thinking, because that's the way that you want to do it. If you do want her business and you do trust her, but feel like, maybe she got a few things, 50 might not be the number. 10 might be the number. So I really like the way you thought about that, because that's typically how these companies work, right? You like, yo, I need 50, I need 50. They like, nah, we got 5, right? And so you like,
Yeah.
that's how I go. And you like, so should I take that, or should I ask 10 other people for 5,000 or whatever that is, right? Sometimes that happens, right? But again, this is how banks go. So if we were in real life, I had like these dice that I would go and I had you guys roll and we would talk about some other stuff. I'll go into somebody else real quick and then I'm gonna go for questions. Charles just moved for the 4th time in 3 years. He's changed his job twice in the last 18 months. And between his rent and student loans, that makes up 40% of his monthly pay. He recently paid off $5,000 in credit card debt, but he still has $8,000 in credit card debt outstanding. He was never late on his rent and student loan payments, but has only paid the minimum payment on his credit card up until the recent $5,000 payment. His credit history, he has an 8-year credit history. Charles is asking for $15,000 to buy a new car that he promised to pay off within 7 years. Would you give it to him?
Yeah.
All right, tell me why.
I'm gonna read it one more time, but I think
That's all good. Chastity, I ain't heard you talking. What's going on?
I would prefer to give it to Annie than Charles, but like if I would probably lower the amount and then increase my interest on him, so I'd be able to get more profit.
Well, here's the thing. And understanding that if you increase the interest, that is more cushion for you, but it's still not a guarantee that he can pay you the interest.
Yeah, but I would be able to take the car, wouldn't I? Or no?
Yeah, I guess
you could.
Rebecca, what'd you say?
She could. She could take the car. She can repossess the car.
Yes.
Totally.
So the car, and so what that's called, if you haven't heard before, you probably heard, that's called collateral, right? So we have the car. If you don't have the money to pay for the car, then we'll take your car back. And that's what happens when anyone has a car note. It's also called a repossession, right? The bank taking that car back. Like, you know what? You can't pay us the way you want to get paid. We're taking that back. Taylor, that's your final answer, Taylor?
Actually, I think I changed my mind though.
Okay, let's go.
Oh yeah.
I think no, because I think he's like a changing person. Like he changed a lot. So he moved 4 times in 3 years. That's a lot of times. So it's like, what, you can't pay your rent or something? Like, what's the reason behind it? And then on top of that, I think he said 40% off monthly pay. And then he still got credit card debt and stuff. I feel like he going to change. I feel like if I would give him the $15,000 car, is he going to change his mind and get another car? Because he does have a history of changing things a lot. So yeah.
So would you loan him the money or you wouldn't?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I'll probably lower it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stop there. Can y'all see me? Okay. I'm gonna stop there. But I use that to show that is how credit decisions are made, right? Again, they're looking at what is your relationship to money? What have you done in the past? Sometimes, and what you will see if you guys haven't saw already, is that sometimes not having any credit messes you up, right? So sometimes not having anything to base off, it makes it harder for you. It makes it just as hard as you having bad credit. You do have
like when you can't get your first job, but you need a first job, right? In order to get a job, you have to have had a first job, but you can't get that first job.
Right. So credit, again, I think credit is the root of all evil. Honestly, you talk about money. Credit is pretty rough, but you do need it. Like it was something that I try to stay away from a long time too. But you need it. It does free up things for you. But I think deeper than that, what we started off at, understanding money management and budgeting. If you understand how to budget, if you understand what a budget is, and a budget isn't some fancy spreadsheet that everybody tell you it is. You take a piece of paper and you put a line down the middle. One side says income, one side says expenses, and that's a budget. Understanding what's coming in, what's going out. If you can understand that, then you can pay off any credit card debt that you want. You can save up for anything you want. You can do the investments. You can buy the sneakers that you want, as long as you have enough the income that you're not spending on expenses. That is the end of my show here. I will open, if we have time, we can talk. I will also give you guys my contact information as well. I greatly appreciate Miss Fabiano and the people at FabU Philly for having me. If you guys do have any questions, let's let it rip, and I'm gonna put my stuff in the chat right now. And if you don't have questions, I'm fine with that too, because it's 8 o'clock. I don't mind going to sleep. Don't feel like you got to make something up. All right. Well, I'm typing this stuff in here.
While Mr. Banks is typing, I want to say thank you, Mr. Banks, for joining and for giving us this overview and for answering our questions. I hope you'll come back again to talk about other topics related to finance and money and budgeting. Shameless plug for FabU Philly and our play captains. We actually have one of our play captains on the phone with us. Talia was a play captain with us last summer. She was one of our pandemic crew play captains. We are hiring for the summer, playcaptains.com. So you can get you a summer job, so you can get some money and start building your credit. And so you can get a job and have your second job after you've been with us for the summer. So reach out to Mr. Banks on social media, follow what he does. Mr. Banks also does workshops and trainings all over the city, at Temple and other places. So you can follow him and follow up with him anywhere, anytime. And then follow us on social media too, and think about applying for the summer job program as a play captain.
All right. All right. Chastity, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
You're supposed to be in the book club too. Am I not mistaken?
Yes, I am.
All right, I got a book for you. I forgot about that. I got a book for you. And to anyone else on there as well, we do have a Thanksgiving book club, and we will be reading The Power of Broke. I don't know if y'all can see it right there in my background. Talking about Damon John. He is on Shark Tank. He is the creator of FUBU and other businesses. And we're going to be talking about that, right? Understanding that like there is some power into reading. If any of you wanted to join, feel free to let me know. Let Rebecca know. She'll tell me whatever that is. We're going to start that soon. I got 10 books in my trunk that I just got to get them to. Chastity, we'll talk offline. But I thank everybody, and I hope that I helped you at least a little bit open your mind to credit and money today.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Banks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. I learned a lot from each of you, actually, and